My name is Jennifer McPeak, and some tropes make me want to scream. La la la, clicky keyboard noises, la la la, keyboard noises. Let me preface this by saying that reading is subjective. What appeals to me might not appeal to you, and vice versa. That said, there are certain tropes that if I see them in a book. No, I don't toss a book out a window. I have an attitude problem, not an anger management one. Depending on when these sins occur and what type of book I'm reading, it's either an instant DNF or it is a very strong side eye from that point onward. This also pertains to books that are leaning heavier into the romance genres than anything, because most of the books that I read, they at least have a romantic subplot, if not that being the driving force of the entire story. If there's a lot of other things going on in the story, these aren't always deal breakers, but if it happens in a romance,
right to jail.
A quick side note to those who are unfamiliar with what a trope is, it's a literary device that shows up fairly often in works. Some of these aren't exactly tropes, they are cliches. Umbrella term, they're tropes. But here are 5 things that will often make me rage quit a book. Number 1, everything is going well. Then the female main character gets sick 2 days in a row before noon. You know what that means. Now, in a romance where infertility is a major plot point, I can and do forgive this because part of the happily ever after, she'll either come to accept and embrace her child-free status, adopt the handsome widower's children, or she's going to become pregnant by the end of the story. There's only so many ways that kind of storyline can be resolved. But I don't like it when pregnancies are thrown around willy-nilly. It kind of feels like the author ran out of ideas on how to make the characters struggle or how to give obstacles to them coming together. That or they just needed something to get the main female out of the way for a bit. Because make no mistake, she's getting shelved, which is especially frustrating when the character has repeatedly shown that she is independent and strong-willed and capable. But now that she's pregnant, she can't make any decisions for herself. It's bad enough when the other characters around her start handling her with kid gloves, but it's especially frustrating when she handles herself with kid gloves. It's just really frustrating. Bonus eye roll points if it's in a paranormal romance and maybe half an hour after they've done the deed and the guy looks at her and goes, "Your scent has changed." Like, I know a lot of us went to public school, and I went to public school in Arkansas, so I learned even less about how the body works. But come on. Next. I hate this one so much. Infidelity can be forgiven in rare instances in a novel or a movie. If they're like in a loveless relationship or an abusive relationship and they're unable to leave their partner for whatever reason, I'm more inclined to forgive it. But in an otherwise decent and healthy relationship, especially one that is billed as like the end goal couple, is just an instant no from me. It's why I stopped reading and watching Poldark. As soon as he left Demelza to shack up with What's-Her-Face, I turned off the TV and I stopped reading the book and I was done. I can forgive a lot of things in a character and I can root for a character that has a lot of flaws and makes a lot of mistakes, but I cannot forgive a character that makes the conscious decision to be unfaithful. I can forgive murder, but not cheating, apparently. And like I said, there are times where I will forgive it. It's very case by case, but almost without exception. Like, I'm reading one book right now where the guy is in love with the female character, but he is also in an active relationship with that girl's sister and won't break up with the sister. I hate this guy. I don't really care what happens to him. The rest of the story is interesting, and that the rest of the story is what's keeping me going, but I do not like this guy. I don't like him. 3. Chapters and chapters of drama are spent and wasted just because the two characters can't speak to one another. One of the books I most recently read has this happen, which actually also feeds into point number 2 about the cheating thing. He sees her leave work arm in arm with a guy, and rather than walk up to them and have a discussion where she would have happily told him that this is one of her cousins that she got separated from because they had to immigrate to another country because of war and fighting and all that stuff. No, he immediately assumes that she's cheating on him. So he goes back to their apartment, picks up basically the first girl he sees on his way home, and cheats on her. Even though this young lady has been ride or die since day one. I was already ambivalent about this guy before because he did some stuff that I didn't agree with. But I was willing to suspend my disapproval of him because of his love for her. But the second he decided not to confront her, I knew exactly what he was going to do, and I hoped he would talk himself out of it. But he didn't, and from that point onward, I hated him. And their whole relationship went downhill from there. But all of that could have been avoided if he had just gone up to her and spoken to her. Or hear me out, not immediately gone out and cheated on her. I know it happens all the time in real life. I'm saying, like when a guy's like, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Just blurt it out. She's my cousin, whatever. Number 4, the hero is outnumbered, outmatched, and on the verge of losing everything. And then the villain trips. And because of that, the hero wins. I know a victory is a victory. It feels cheap. Any sort of deus ex machina tends to turn me off because it's like the author wrote themselves into a corner and then just did a hand wave and solved everything. That's not satisfactory. They should win because they've earned it, not because of an accident. It happened a lot in the Dresden Files books, to the point where I knew he wasn't getting out of there without some outside assistance. If a buddy of mine wasn't loaning me those books, I wouldn't have finished them. And she doesn't work with me anymore, so I'm not going to finish the series when the last couple books get published. Number 5. This one is reserved for main characters. I hate seeing stories where the main character thinks and behaves like they're better than everybody else because the things that they're interested in are not like the other girls or not like the other guys. Unless you're trying to make your character actively unlikable, it's just lazy. Come on. We're better than that. Why is it that some stories, or authors rather, always the only way a female character can be cool is if she's basically a toxic man but with boobs? All I'm asking for is a little bit of dimension in characters. The problem for me isn't that the characters have likes or dislikes that deviate from gender norms. The problem is when it's made clear that the stereotypical option for their gender is beneath them. That's how you know I'm not like other girls. Please think I'm cooler than other girls. Please think I'm cool. Unless the back blurb warns me that the point of the story is that this character is unlikable and that they're getting a redemption arc from that awful personality trait, I'm out. So these are just 5 of the things that tend to turn me off in a book. How about you? What things in a book will make you roll your eyes and say that book's not written for you? Do you like some of the tropes? I am totally open for a healthy discussion about why you like these tropes, as long as you are willing to also be healthy about it. No name calling. My name's Jennifer McPeak. I post every other Wednesday, and I talk about writing things and other stuff from time to time. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you on the next video. Have a great day. Later. La la la, clicky keyboard noises, la la la, keyboard noises.